The next part of the section is on imaginary numbers, and these are used when we have a negative on the inside of a radical. And we need to use them because if you were to take square root of negative 9, this is not equal to 3 because 3 times 3 is positive 9. But it's also not equal to negative 3 because a negative times a negative is a positive. So negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. So we need to use imaginary numbers. So I is equal to square root of negative 1, and I squared is equal to negative 1. So number 5 is just the square root of negative 1, which would be I. 6 is the square root of negative 25. Now I can break this up into the square root of 25 times the square root of negative 1. So the square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of negative 1 is I. So my final answer would be 5I. So a faster way of looking at this is if this were square root of 25, it would just be 5. But because it's square root of negative 25, it's 5I. So whenever you have a negative on the inside of the radical, it really just adds an I to the number that it would be. So square root of negative 36, if this were just 36, it would be 6. But because it's negative 36, it's 6I. Square root of negative 100, if this were just 100, it would be 10. But because it's square root of negative 100, it's 10I.